All right. Welcome back to the Seven Figure Seller Summit. My name is Gary Huang. Today, I am super excited to bring you to day 4, profitability. It's amazing that we have so many special guests be with us here today live. I just wanted to quickly introduce everybody that we have and welcome also everybody watching. Before we begin, if you're watching, if you can see this, can you please type your name in the chat and where you're watching from just to make sure, because we are live. Okay, so first off, I'd like to welcome Yoni Mazur. He's the co-founder of Getita. He gave a great talk about Amazon reimbursements. So how to use that to get your money back so you're not leaving money on the table, on Jeff Bezos' table. He doesn't need any more money. So that's an excellent presentation. I'd like to highly recommend that. And then also, Getita is our platinum sponsor for the summit, so we really appreciate that. So Yoni, welcome. How's it going over there?
Great, very, very nice. We have a nice, lovely sunny day in New Jersey, right, Elaine? You also have a nice sunny day?
Exactly. Cool
Yeah, so
and dry.
yeah, every day like
Awesome.
this, I am very thankful to the world.
Excellent, excellent. So next, I'd like to welcome Matt Lapierre. He's coming from Ping Pong Payments. They're a third-party payment processor. If you're doing any international payments, they can immediately cut down your fees if you're using Amazon. So I highly recommend them as well. So Matt, how's it going?
Great, Gary.
Welcome.
Welcome from sunny LA here.
Yeah. I miss LA. That's my hometown. And go Dodgers, go Lakers. I miss those guys. Yeah, excellent. All right, next, I'd like to welcome Elaine Pofelt. She is the author of the $1 Million One-Person Business. She's interviewed countless successful e-commerce entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs from all different industries. I learned so much just from following her and all of her interviews. So I'm super privileged to have her with us here today. How are you doing, Elaine?
Oh, I'm great, Gary. It's nice to be back, and congrats on the success of the summit. I was part of the inaugural one, and it's amazing to see how much you've grown it.
Thank you. We couldn't have done it without you guys. And Elaine is an alum of the summit, and she also helped us get featured in Forbes as well. So thank you for that. Our summit is very exciting. We just crossed 3,000 people that registered. So we're really trying to help everyone all over the world. If you guys are watching here today, if you know of anybody that might be interested in leveling up their e-commerce business, we're talking about profitability today, go ahead, invite them to come on live. We have this valuable time with these 7-figure sellers, these experts. So please ask them to join us. We're trying to help as many people as we can. Next, I'd like to welcome my friend Andy Humphrey. He's coming in from Michigan. He's a 7-figure seller, Shopify store owner. He's crushing it. During COVID, he gave a great talk about 4 ways he increased his profits during the whole COVID pandemic. He's going, his drop shippers are going through furloughs. He actually, he's selling fewer units, but he is actually making more profits. So definitely, I recommend you check out Andy's session. How's it going, Andy?
Yeah, going great. And I'll echo Elaine. Congratulations on another awesome summit. Appreciate being a part of it, and I'm excited about what you're doing. There's a lot of people that can benefit for all the effort that you're putting in to get us all together. So appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you, and thank you for coming back. Andy is an alum as well, so couldn't have done it without you as well. So I appreciate the support. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Cassandra Craven. She is the queen of social media from Helium 10. She gave excellent talk day 2 on 10 Insta-worthy ways to build an Amazon business. So how's it going, Cassandra?
Good. Congratulations on everything. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a little further south than Matt. I'm in Orange County, and it's about 100 degrees here. So doing well.
Yeah, stay cool, and super excited to have you. And I'd like to take a moment to welcome some of our viewers. Rahul, good morning from India. Thomas from Muskoka, Canada. Karen, welcome. And Craig Green from Melbourne, good day. Nutu, Malcolm from New Zealand. Kyle, Karen Sandifer, welcome back. Great to see you. And Craig Green, Andy, could you show us a view from your deck, by the way? I know you have an amazing place where you are right now.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Show us the lake. Can you see the lake again today?
Oh, wait, there it is.
There it is. Yeah, it's kind of, it's that little piece of silver lining.
Piece of Lake Michigan there for you. Fresh water.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Amazing. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're talking about profitability and, how to keep more money in your profit. So I'm curious, maybe we could just go around the table, and if you guys can just give one tip to everybody watching, what is the number one tip you give to them to, increase their profitability for their e-commerce business? Let's start with Yoni.
All right, so a few components I'd like to throw into the mix as a tip. It all comes down to know your numbers. You really have to scrutinize your numbers and have it all in front of you, and at the very least, check it every month. If you're not doing that much volume, maybe every 90 days. But the way I see it is you need to have a North Star, and that North Star has a delta, right? It has three components: sales, cost of doing business, okay, and then what's a profit. So if that's your North Star, and every little function that you do when you take care of your business, you basically align it with that North Star, you're always going to be on the right path for success. So you try a new campaign, you throw it to the North Star triangle, you see if it creates more of a profit, you're good. If it doesn't, it's actually the same profit or reducing, try something else. So always be aligned to that, and hopefully you'll do good at any stage as you scale up.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a great tip. And for people watching, if you guys have any questions for our speakers, go ahead and type in the chat. Now's your chance for the live Q&A. So thank you for that, Yoni. And also, Yoni will be giving away a cash prize towards the end of the show. So please stay tuned for that. All right, excellent. So next, Matt, would you like to give us a quick tip how people can save some money with their e-commerce business? I know you guys handle a lot of payments, so please enlighten us.
Yeah, so I think Yoni said it good. You have to scrutinize your numbers. And like you mentioned, Gary, nobody likes paying too much in fees to Amazon. So we really help you save on fees when you're starting to sell globally. So I think, one of the tips I'd say is in all of those markets, that you're selling globally and you need to convert your money, you should partner up with somebody to, one, save converting the money back to you, and two, save paying money out to suppliers and tax authorities and things like that. So all of those savings, kind of add up in the long run, especially when you're selling internationally and, it costs a little more than selling domestically.
100%. And I just like to echo that. I've made this mistake myself for my Amazon business. When I first started selling overseas, I just, clicked that button in Amazon to, get
Right.
paid, and then they'd handle all the conversions. And then at the end of the year, my bookkeeper was reviewing our numbers, and I learned we paid an extra thousands of dollars because Amazon was charging us about 3.9% to bring that, that foreign currency back home to convert it and to get paid. But had I used a third party, someone like Ping Pong Payments, for example, we probably could have cut it down to 1% or even less. So that 2.9% over like a six-figure business we had for that brand, that was thousands of dollars that, we could have saved from, Jeff Bezos's pocket. So, so I highly recommend that. And Matt, maybe if we could just take a quick moment, what's the difference between Ping Pong and I know there's a lot of other third-party payment companies out there. Could you give us a quick rundown of that?
Yeah, so I think what makes us a little different is we kind of work more with the sellers, right? There's a lot of companies that kind of will, help you transfer money. But we really work with sellers to say, hey, let us understand your business and let us understand how we can help you save money, both receiving money and then sending money out, paying suppliers, paying tax authorities, things like that. So we kind of encompass all of that and give you guys, the sellers, someone to talk to and bounce payments questions off. So we're kind of more a consultant, than just someone helping you guys with receiving and sending money.
Perfect. All right, that's excellent. So if you guys have any questions about international payments, how to pay, what's the best way to pay your supplier, like in China or a foreign country, please type that in the chat. All right, next, I'd like to turn the mic to Elaine. You've interviewed so many e-commerce $1 million businesses, general entrepreneurs. Can you maybe share one quick tip about profitability that you're seeing?
Sure. I echo what Yoni and Matt have said about knowing your numbers and having your books up to date so that you notice trends. But I will say something else. How you spend money on contractors is really important. A lot of the entrepreneurs in the book use contractors to do things like web design or customer service and that sort of thing. the inclination most people have is to look for the cheapest talent, the lowest hourly rate. And what I found is that these entrepreneurs look for the best person, even if they're paying $600 an hour, because the best person is usually so much more efficient and brings so much more to the table than the lowest priced competitor. So that's what I would say. I remember Sol Orwell saying that. He runs examine.com, which is an e-commerce site that sells reports on nutritional supplements. And he said his web designer is top of the line in terms of hourly fees, and yet he saves money by using her. So that's my tip. And I'm sure others have had that experience as well.
Yeah, and that's a great tip. And as the saying goes, you get what you pay for, right?
Exactly.
And meanwhile, I'd like to highly recommend Elaine's book if you haven't read it, The $1 Million One Person Business. Elaine, I know you have it there, so yeah, so definitely check that out. I've learned a lot from that. Just learning from other e-commerce entrepreneurs. I think if you're enjoying the summit, that this will be good, supplementary literature homework for you guys if you want, but it's very useful. So thanks for that. And if you guys have any questions for Elaine, talking about, she really has her finger to the pulse when it comes to, especially right now, you see like a lot of businesses pivoting, during COVID, she shared about, I think one of the entrepreneurs she interviewed was like a spa owner, and, they couldn't run the spa like offline like before, and they had to pivot online. So they were able to I think make one of the biggest months ever during COVID just by doing that pivot. So
absolutely. Actually, it took Cassandra's expertise. One of the entrepreneurs that I wrote about, Joey Healy, was an eyebrow stylist, and I know that's not your expertise, although your eyebrows are fabulous. Social media. What he did was his spa was closed, and he's on University Place in New York City, which is very high rent. But he had developed this small line of eyebrow makeup, and he had it in the basement in a clean, dry place. So he said, this is what's going to get us through the pandemic. And he started going on Instagram and TikTok with videos on how to do your brows at home. And he used his publicist to get some placement in magazines and on Good Morning America, all opportunities to tout his e-commerce product, and added on consultations with him. He's got a following of 96,000 on Instagram. So he's a big celebrity in the brow world. So he's been doing that every day. And that's allowed him to get through the pandemic. And now he's reopening, so it's not as necessary. But it was a good example to me of how a lot of people can have e-commerce as an adjunct to an existing brick and mortar business. And I think almost any brick and mortar business should be thinking about it today. If you've got a restaurant, do you have a hot sauce recipe? If you have a boutique, maybe there's something you can sell online. It just seems like such a no-brainer for a lot of businesses to get into that to supplement their revenue.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Yeah. If anyone's watching, if you're doing something offline, you're going online, I'd love to hear your story. I'm sure like everyone else would as well. So that's awesome. And next, I'd like to introduce Cassandra as well. She, gave a really good talk about social media, and maybe if you could get a quick tip about, social media, how to, grow your business, your Amazon business that way, Cassandra.
Of course. Well, Elaine is speaking my language. Social media is free. That is the best way to save your money and keep the revenue in your pocket. So all these resources, content creation, that's all you. You can do it on your iPhone. You can look for VAs, things like that. Content creation all comes from up here. So if you get your social media channels going and get creative, you can save a ton of money. And what you're essentially doing is laying the groundwork for when you do start to put paid and money behind your sponsored content. So lay the groundwork, use social media to your advantage, organic social media, it's free. And there's also a ton of free resources out there. So maybe you're a novice, maybe you're not as adept to social media or even your Amazon business. And with Helium 10, we have so many free resources, services, podcasts, YouTube tutorials, everything that you can learn how to market yourself, how to take advantage of what's out there and the resources available. So yes, social media is free, and it's a really great way to keep your money in your pocket.
Oh, it's
Excellent.
fantastic. It's a great way to build your brand too, because sometimes if you're in a commodity area of e-commerce, how do you distinguish yourself from all the other people selling yoga mats? And a lot of times it's creating a brand around who you are and your passion for yoga or whatever it may be. That's what's going to differentiate you. And it
people
is
get to
free.
know you. Exactly. They make you're synonymous the face with your product. People find you more trustworthy because they know who's behind what they're getting. It's not kind of this anonymous, seller, if you will. They know the trusted brand, the face. They get to know you as a person. So it's a great way to build your brand. Absolutely.
Yeah, and building your brand is so important now. I mean, given how competitive Amazon and e-commerce is today, so I highly, highly recommend you check out Cassandra's session. And we have a question for you, Cassandra, from Craig Green. Cassandra, I'm a customer of your amazing Helium 10. If I was to add on a module apart from Black Box, what would you recommend?
Oh, goodness. We have so much exciting things coming up. There are so many. It's about what you really are looking for, what you want, what your budget allows for, what you're looking for in terms of your goals. There are so many resources to explore. Send me a DM. I'll connect you with the right people. It's really about what's unique to you as a seller, though, and what you want in your budget, and what you're looking to achieve, essentially, because there's so many great resources. There's so many great tools. You want to make sure that you're honing in on what you need. So send me a DM, message me. I'll put you in the right place.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Cassandra. Next, I'd like to ask Andy. I know you're not just a handsome face sitting in front of that beautiful view. Andy, I'd like to ask you, can you touch upon the importance of having your own store and not relying on Amazon? Because I think this is like one of the holy grails for a lot of Amazon sellers, creating your own store.
Yeah, I think that there's cycles in all business and commerce. And if you think about what life was like before Amazon, everybody went to Google to find and shop for products, right? So before Amazon, everybody had a store. Then all of a sudden, Jeff Bezos and Amazon came on the scene, and it became so easy to either create your own product or private label a product. And instead of getting it to rank on Google, you got it to rank on Amazon. And it was shouldn't say it was so easy, but really at the time it was very easy. And sometimes it's easy today. And things come in cycles. And so if you think about what happens when we reach the commoditization of Amazon, meaning it's just full of products, brands aren't represented, people don't know what they buy, people are going to start looking for other shopping choices. And that's sort of where we are right now. We're at the beginning of people looking for other shopping choices, going back to Google, looking at all of the products being served to them in Facebook and other social media channels. And so now you have a time to own your channel like you did before Amazon, because Amazon is kind of becoming commoditized. And so you want to get ready to, for this next phase where we're going to go back to brands and back to stores and back to the personal shopping experience that you don't have on Amazon. So I think we're still early, but we're seeing the trend moving back in the other direction.
Yeah, 100%. And I think one of the biggest questions for a lot of people that are just like, they have all their eggs in one basket in Amazon is like, if they do want to diversify, for example, to open a Shopify store, it's not that easy because you got to drive traffic, you got to build it out, you got to decide how you're going to handle fulfillment. I'm curious, Andy, what would be your tip, for someone like that? If they do want to diversify off of Amazon, to cut their risk, what would be like the first step that you would recommend to them?
So I've got two thoughts. The first thought is I want people to know that we have put inserts, oftentimes per Amazon's rules, sometimes not, to try to get people to come from Amazon to our store. And it is next to impossible. So if you're thinking, hey, I'll just put some inserts and drive the traffic from Amazon to my store, it's almost impossible. It's not going to happen. An Amazon shopper is an Amazon shopper. I mean, we have literally stuffed thousands of packages with inserts with free $10 off any order, any size. It's almost impossible to get that customer to come to you from Amazon. And so what I would think about is it's not really a volume game, right? When you're on Amazon, you're playing numbers. It's about volume and getting rank. And when you have your own store, all of that goes away. You can be much more profitable. You can focus on the profitability. You can focus on not having to sell 100 units a day. Maybe just focus on 10 of the right customers that are happy to buy from you. And it's I guess off Amazon, it's finding those right customers. It's not just a volume play.
And what's a quick tip? How do people find the right customers?
Well, for us and our products, we focus on the very specific keywords in Google, and that's both organic and paid placement.
I see. And are you running Google AdWords, or are you just doing like SEO? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Andy, do you do any content marketing on the site to pull people in at all?
Some content marketing, yes. Not a lot. That's actually an area that we're going to be investing more in. And it's when you invest in content marketing, it's a longer term play because you may not see the results of that content for quite some time. And with direct advertising, you can see it right away and you can measure it. And the content marketing is a little bit longer play. So if you've got time and sweat and energy on your side and you have no money, content, like focus on the content. If you've got a little bit of advertising and you've a budget and you feel like you have something that can convert and you've got the right landing pages, website set up, then you can put more money on the advertising.
Excellent. All right, that's great. And talking about profitability, I think one of the other themes that we're seeing is, Amazon sellers, they're also looking at ways to diversify their like revenue streams, not just, selling on Amazon, but possibly, offering some consulting or some coaching or even starting their own agency or, working, in a partnership. One of the talks that I really enjoyed was from Sophie Howard today. And, she's a 7-figure seller and she exited one of her Amazon businesses. She's based in New Zealand. And, she also offers like other services like coaching and consulting. So I think that's one of the ways that, people can boost their profitability as well. And then I'm curious because I know, Elaine, you also offer, do you call it ghostwriting services for like you help other people write books as well, right? Could you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. Well, it sort of evolved out of my journalism. Sometimes people would see articles that I wrote and say, I'd like to write something like that, but a book, can you write a book? And so I always was used to writing in my own voice, but I thought, well, if I listen to how they say things and their voice and their vibe, I can convey that on paper. And so it evolved that my original client is not a secret because he tells everybody is Vern Harnish. He founded Entrepreneurs Organization. And I've worked with him for quite a while. But I have another, most of the clients like me to sign NDAs. They like me to be behind the scenes, and that's fine. I mean, that's why it's called a ghostwriter, right? And so it's a lot of fun. It really, it's for me, it's fascinating because I get to live in the head of some really great entrepreneurs and see how they think about things and even how they express themselves. How you express yourself shapes your actions, and it's very interesting. Some of them it's a little hard. I'm a mother of 4, so some of them it's a little out of character. I get these like hyper aggressive guys who own 8 businesses, and you take no prisoners, So I do martial arts with my children. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo, and so usually I try to do one of those classes before I write the chapters for those guys.
That's awesome.
Elaine, I have a question. Elaine, when you do ghostwriting for somebody to write a book, how long does it usually take?
Realistically, the shortest I've ever done it was 6 months. It depends on the length of the book. It also depends on whether someone is self-publishing or commercially publishing, because with commercial publishers, the editor has a say over what gets published, whereas with self-publishing, the client is the only one. So when you have more cooks in the kitchen, it basically takes a little bit longer. So realistically, it takes about a year from start to finish, sometimes longer. I mean, sometimes with a book, it has to kind of bake in someone's mind. You'll get to a certain point and then they need to stop. It also depends on the subject matter. If it's a more serious subject matter, I'm working with somebody who survived cancer after being sent home by MD Anderson to get his affairs in order. And he's still alive 7 years later and perfectly healthy. It's an amazing, miraculous story, but that's a hard one to write. So we took some breaks along the way so that he could sort of readjust to having expressed all of this. And, you know, an entrepreneurship book is totally positive usually and fun and light. And so that's a lot easier to sit down and write and think about. So it's very, very customized. And for me, I don't really consider myself doing content marketing, but my journalism seems to serve as a magnet for people that would appreciate my particular way of doing journalism and my outlook on things. So that's been super helpful. I was actually curious about Andy's business because of that, because I found the articles sort of with the higher end clients, they seem to be drawn to articles. And I was curious about how you found clients who are not as price sensitive with the keywords. Is it just that certain keywords would resonate with a certain demographic more?
Let's see. The way I'll answer that is that if you have a sales funnel, we focus at the bottom of the funnel where people know what they want and they're ready to buy. Okay, so that's part of it, right? If you're doing all top of funnel advertising, it's not going to convert for some time. You may need to get them into a campaign where you're tracking their pixel, you're remarketing to them, then you're serving them another article, and then you're working them down the funnel to the point where they're ready to buy. And with our sprinkler parts, we basically set up a filter with our advertising so that any top of funnel type keywords that don't mention a manufacturer's brand or even model number, we do not advertise for. We filter it out. So we only get the people that sort of are already educated, they know what they're looking for, and then they find us so that we can convert. And so when someone is advertising for the first time, that's like one of the biggest recommendations I can have. So for my business, sprinkler systems, you don't advertise for lawn sprinkler parts, right? That is so broad. You advertise for Rainbird 5004 rotor, like something very specific, because then the user is looking for that item and they're basically ready to buy it. And so with our advertising, it's mostly bottom of funnel advertising.
That is so
Andy,
go right ahead.
Yeah, sorry to call you. I see there's somebody wrote a message for you, or sorry, a question for you. It's from Craig Green. I think he's saying, Andy, do you sell globally from your website or just to the U.S. market? Which markets do you cater to?
On our website, we just sell to the U.S. market. If you contact us offline, we can sell to anywhere. But because we don't have some of the shipping set up for direct purchase through the website, we only offer to US. But if you want something, you're not in the US, contact us and we'll give you a custom quote to ship it anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I wanna add a little bit into that. So right now I don't sell. I'm not a retail anymore. Gatita, my company, was born out of my retail experience. We can touch that a little bit later if needed. But back in the day when we were selling online, we were very, very stretched out to many markets. You know, we're selling obviously on eBay, on Walmart, on our .com, on Europe, UK. I mean, Europe, the whole 5 markets, UK, Germany, whatever. So our mindset as retailers was as following. Our duty is to offer our products. We had a very wide selection. We were like a mini Macy's. You know, we're like a mini department store. So we had a lot of categories, shoes, jewelry. Excuse me. So we said our mission and our purpose is to be able to reach with our products digitally to the largest audience that we can get on a global level. You know, and all of that just feeds you, and we're doing, quite a lot of, as a group, we're doing around 100 million a year. So that philosophy is, start from 0 to 100 million throughout the years for that philosophy. So whatever we can get a footprint in offer our variety, that's our fiduciary duty as retailers. And it proved itself, if you're really looking into long-term growth, you can start small a little bit on Walmart or Amazon UK or whatever it is. And as long as you have a footprint, you'll probably over the years, you're going to give attention to it. You're going to water it. You're going to nourish it. And it's going to give you something. So as a philosophy, I think anybody that offers any type of product on a digital level, it's really so easy. It is easy. It just might take a bit time. But, especially if you're selling Amazon, plug and play. Whatever you do in North America, you could definitely do in Europe. Same game. And Amazon already made everything in English. So you sell it in Germany, you see the whole Sell Essential is going to look in English anyways. So that's a little bit of advice there. If you want to play on a global level, it's not really too hard. And there is another question that I don't know if who wants to pick this one up, but what is the best alternative to Amazon? Is it Google Shopping, Shopify?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Before we get into that, Elaine, did you have a follow up to Andy's comment earlier?
Well, I did have a question, sort of related to this whole discussion. Is keywords. Okay, see this thing? It's a screen that I ordered on Amazon for Zoom calls. Because of my 4 kids, there's always someone in the background. So I searched for it under Zoom screen. And
sorry, I messed up.
Oh, so it's like a green screen, so you can make a background. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But I searched for Zoom screen, and then barely anything came up. Then I assigned it to one of my teenage daughters because they work in the business and helped me a little bit during the summer. So we finally found out it was called a room divider, which seemed not like it didn't make any sense to me at all to search for a room divider. And I thought there's probably some great tools. I know of SEMrush, but what tools do you consider the best for helping the seller to identify what someone like me who's trying to buy something in a hurry actually would call it, so that they can tag it that way in their ad campaigns?
I think Cassandra, that might be that might be up your alley. I think with Helium 10, right?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, the back end of the software and everything, but that's a really great point, because when I saw your background too, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, room divider, that's genius. But pivoting now with COVID, of course, people are saying, okay, I need a Zoom background. I need something. And especially like a different generation is probably calling it something so different. Like you just said, Zoom background. Whereas when you hear that initially, you think that's something like a virtual background or something. No one would ever think to put that in. But definitely, back end keywords, Amazon software, Helium 10, that's where you're going to go to hit that. And you can plug in a bunch of different keywords and demographics, descriptions, things like that, of where people would be looking for this and pivoting towards it, because you think it's one thing, and if you kind of put that other search result in there, it's going to come up. So that's a really great question. I really thought that was an interesting point that you brought up of different descriptions
you're so
and things
right
like
about
that, and how
too,
people pivot to
generationally.
that.
I even noticed that. I have my youngest is 10 and my oldest girls are 16. I had a lot of kids in a short period of time, and he does everything by voice, which is really interesting. It's like he grew up with Siri, but they grew up when we were just starting to get iPhones. I think I had a BlackBerry when they were born, and they type things in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the time, and especially also the misspellings. We have Misspellinator and all that stuff too. Of if someone is, because I'm sure you guys have noticed, if you dictate something on your phone, how many times has it left off or came off as a different word and things like that. So yeah, exactly. It's generational. You have to really kind of adapt to what people are doing and how they're searching.
The question is, if they do a sound search, they get the results also by sound as well? Just for my old age of 36, I was just asking, how does that work?
I believe it would still come up on screen. I don't know if it would. I don't think it would talk back to you all
okay.
Yeah.
There's a little joke on that. I'll tell you. Go ahead.
You may have gotten that in my generation too.
There's a little joke. I just want to add this, slid in this little joke. When Jeff Bezos purchased Walmart, basically he woke up in the morning and he told Siri, Siri, I want to talk about my purchase list for Whole Foods, and she answered back, purchase Whole Foods. Like, all right, okay. 14.3 billion. All right, just try to check. Move on. All right, so you're saying? Sorry, I wanted to pick up on that.
No. I think like generationally speaking, it's funny because like our 21-month-old son Harrison, he sees us like me and my wife talking to our phone, and then he's like grabbing the phone and saying "baba, baba." It's like all he says, but like so he's like trying to emulate us because like he sees we're talking to the phone all the time, So I think generationally, I don't know, like we're raising digital natives now. They'll be like living in this whole thing virtually by the time they're our age, I think. But
you should get that on video. It's funny because I used to say "hey" to Siri. I don't know why I cannot do it. So therefore I won't use it because I don't want to be made to say things a certain way.
Right.
Full disclosure, I don't have Siri. I have Google Home. So I say, "Hey Google." That's how you make it. That's how you activate it. So my kids know, "Hey Google,"
Okay, awesome. So let's get back to that question that LW Classes had. What's the best alternative to Amazon? Google Shopping, Shopify? Who would like to weigh in on this?
Andy might be.
Yeah, I can start with that. I would say yes, absolutely. Google is the next closest competitor to Amazon, without speaking social, right? So there's definitely opportunities on social, but outside of social, Google is the closest, and to Amazon. And what most people don't realize about Google, but they realize about Facebook, is everybody knows Facebook has all of our information, right? They have everything about us. That's why we see all these ads that we see, and we know that they were listening. And all of a sudden I was talking to my friend about water skis, and now I'm seeing a water ski advertisement, right? We've all experienced that. Well, Google has all that information too, because of all the Google services, Google Drive, Gmail, the
YouTube.
Google Home, YouTube.
Android.
So they have more information about us as people and what we want to buy than Amazon and Facebook do. And so if you dig into the tools, there's ways to use that information for advertising and marketing. And so really, I think Google is, again, was ruler of the land before Amazon, and it may come back to be ruler of the commerce land again.
That's interesting. How important is Facebook? When if I'm in my feed and I get a Facebook store, my two twin daughters wanted to get bikinis, and now every single day I'm bombarded with bikinis. But I made them get sportier ones, so I get modest swimsuits. It's like,
yeah, you must have signaled to Facebook that you were in the market for that. So now they're serving you ads because they know you're in the market for that product. And, Google's very similar. So yeah, Google's a great place to get started. I can't speak to social because our products are more utility based. They're not a social product, but I think that starting a product on social today could be a great opportunity.
What do you think, Sandra? Is that like, is it worth it for a lot of the people listening to start a store that's on Facebook? Or I guess where it lives on Shopify, but it's mostly advertised on Facebook.
Correct.
Yeah, I see that a lot, and I do see that there's a lot of Instagram shops popping up. And I even followed an influencer today who I've been following for months, and she just started her Shopify store through Instagram, and I got an immediate alert in my DMs that she had gone live with this, and so I was like, oh yeah, so I was instantly placed into her store. And I thought that was really interesting and very cool, and nothing I've seen before either. So I feel that the integration of social and starting it on Facebook or Instagram through Shopify is going to become the whole new wave of and especially generationally, going back to that, there's this whole generation of kids that see stuff on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, all those things. They're kind of like click, oh, I want that. Take me to the website, go. And call it a day. They're not really going through, oh, geez, what's the best? Let me go on here and search for my, price command ratio kind of thing, So they're just kind of getting things. So that's a whole nother aspect of it.
TikTok is really exciting, I think.
TikTok is on the clock. The clock is ticking for TikTok. They have, I don't know what, 38 days to get purchased or sold or something. So it's kind of ironic, but we'll see what happens.
I think someone's going to swoop in and buy them.
I think Microsoft is the head runner, but we'll see. Things are very dicey over there.
They have a big following though, like younger teens. I know my older girls are 16. They roll their eyes. My 14-year-old loves TikTok. It seems like that's the dividing line. So that's like a certain generation that is very embedded with that site.
No, it's crazy popular. It's unbelievably popular. It's rapid fire. But because it's backed up by the Chinese, maybe by the Chinese government, so it's catching fire with the U.S. government. So it's a lot of politics there. We can ask Gary what he thinks. He has a little bit of the China perspective. He lives in China and has the idea of what's going on in both worlds. But I would like to actually touch the next question with the fulfillment when we get a chance. Go ahead, Gary.
No, this is a great point, and I think all very great perspectives, and LW Classes said great answer. Thank you. And I think it really depends on the product as well. So if you're like Andy, if you're selling like sprinkler supplies, maybe that's not something that that people target as much on Facebook versus like bikinis, like what Elaine's daughters are looking for in the summertime.
Yeah, more broad. It's much more broad. Most humans will probably purchase bikinis through a year than sprinklers.
Yeah.
So it's more broad in terms of
I think
market.
it really depends. And, talking about TikTok and the whole Chinese things, I'm going to stay away from the politics, but, in general, having lived in Shanghai for a dozen years, over a decade, basically any business that operates in China, they have to play by the rules. So there's, certain rules that, dealing with government that you got to play by. I don't know how involved they are with the government, but it's just like, I mean, those are the rules, right? So rules are rules. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's owned by Tencent, right? And I think Tencent and Alibaba, all these top guns in the past year or two, they were kind of forced by the government to have a government official on the board. So that's like the clutch where there's an issue, I guess, with the U.S. government. So if somebody's on the board with the government,
I'll put it that way. It's not uncommon to have that. So I mean, they have their own, set of rules that they play by, and we'll just leave it at that. All right.
Yeah.
So, but
Susanna
we got
has
some
a
other
question.
cool.
Yeah,
we got some other
Susanna.
cool questions. Yeah, Susanna had a question. Which fulfillment method or company would you recommend to link to Shopify? Andy, what do you think about that?
So, there are a lot of third-party fulfillment centers or 3PLs, and it essentially they should all be created equal. As long as the pricing is good, they ship on time, they don't lose your inventory, and you have visibility of your inventory in their warehouse. That to me is one of the biggest things. If you ship them 1,000 items, you should be able to log into a portal and see what your inventory looks like. So there's a lot of third-party fulfillment centers. Some people just have an extra warehouse and say, I'll ship your stuff. So I would look for one that has some type of digital integration. And then I would also look to see what Shopify has coming, because they are building and have built their own Shopify fulfillment network, which is going to make them more of a competitor to Amazon. And you'll be able to see inside your Shopify store where your inventory is in different parts of the country, kind of like you can and can't see inside of Amazon. So I think those are a couple things I'd look for.
I can give you actually names if Susanna, if you want. I have like 4 options for you if you like.
Please do.
So first option is immediate and so straightforward that I don't know if people tend to forget, but FBA, Fulfilled by Amazon. It's really easy to plug and play. You can use Amazon's fulfillment centers to use it for multi-channel. So you already have visibility of what's going on, and then you can plug in through your Shopify store, your Amazon account and your Amazon inventory. So once an order comes in, Amazon FBA ships it out. That's easy, right? That's the first one. Second one will be Deliver with the double R. Deliver with the double R. Essentially what they did, they created an FBA fulfillment center all over the country, but they, it's highly specialized for e-commerce. So you can list it on your Shopify, products you can sell on Shopify, Walmart, Amazon, eBay, whatever it is. It integrates, and then they store your goods, and then they ship it out within a day or two. They're really kind of built to have a fast delivery within a day or two, and of course it's all visibility with technology and dashboards. So you got Deliver. If you want to go a bit more old school and you want to cover the East Coast or the West Coast, so on the East Coast you have Swan. It's called Swan Fulfillment. It's based here in New Jersey. I'm going to give a shout out for my own state. They're not too far from me. I know they do a really good job, and they work with a lot of massive sellers and for many years, so they're doing something right. That's on the East Coast. Swan, SWAN, I believe, or Swan Logistics. If you Google, you probably find it up. It's pretty popular. And on the West Coast, you have Warehouse Republic. It's called Warehouse Republic. Their fulfillment center is very close to Amazon's fulfillment center. I think it's Ontario, California. Gary, you probably know where that is more than me, because Ontario, my first thought is Canada, especially if it's Ontario, CA. Which California, Canada, they probably get a lot of wrong packages, either in Canada or vice versa.
Yeah, that's very close to the Amazon, like the main fulfillment center, ONT8, Ontario. It's very close.
All right, so I hope that helps. I give some names, drop some names. And,
thank you for that. Yeah, and then also, I'm using a 3PL fulfillment company called Shipmonk, and then they're based in California and in Florida, and then they handle a lot of, they handle some of our Shopify sales. They work with a lot of like crowdfunding campaigns as well. So there's a lot of options out there, Suzanne. I hope that helps. Excellent. Okay.
I have a question. How important are those tracking apps that when you place an order, you can see where your order is in the country? Does anyone find that improves sales or customer satisfaction with the e-commerce businesses?
Yeah, the experience. Yeah, especially for the ones who really wanted, they need it for a certain event. The moment we give them visibility, they just don't harass you. They don't bother you. Hey, where's my package? It's just turnkey. So it releases you from your duties, especially on the customer service end. So you can hire less people technically speaking, that can deal with where's my package. Then you check it for them, you tell them where it is, as opposed to turnkey. You click and you see, and you get visibility, and you move on. So it's much more scalable for the e-commerce space to have this kind of functionality.
So that's great. So that increases profitability then, because you need fewer.
Exactly, reduces costs. Yeah, it just built to scale, and it's great. It does magic.
Andy, I know you spoke about this in your training today, talking about communications. You kind of gave like some preemptive emails, to expect some, delays with the deliveries and tracking. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, and speaking of the tracking, that is the final piece. So if someone's going to contact you after the order, it's going to be the where's my order, email, chat, etc. And so what we've trained our fulfillment houses to do, even if FedEx picks up, let's just say at 2 p.m., we've trained our fulfillment house to continue shipping packages so that if a customer gets their tracking number at 5 p.m. or 4 p.m., it doesn't matter if FedEx has already come that day. Keep shipping, because we've got to get the tracking number into the order to notify the customer so that they feel safe, they feel trust, they feel like the order is on the way. Even though it's going to get on the truck tomorrow, it's okay. They know that it was processed. And so it was interesting when we first got started, our warehouses said, well, FedEx already came, so we're not shipping anymore today. And we're like, what are you talking about? Keep shipping. We got to get the tracking numbers to customers as soon as possible.
It really matters. My daughters were tracking those bikinis, and they were stuck in Carlsbad, California for a while. so I think it builds a little bit of excitement around the purchase too, beyond people not being annoyed about it. I'm curious about something else with international shipments and currency and that sort of thing. Does it make sense for an Amazon seller to accept a wide variety of payment processors like Stripe, PayPal, all the other ones, or is it better to consolidate? Does anyone have a sense of that?
So I think a lot of them.
I would say what we do is we want to offer up the major ones.
Sorry. Let's go with Matt first, and then Andy.
Okay.
Yeah, for payment processing, I was going to say it is good to have more than one processor. I mean, even Stripe has gone down before. So a lot of the bigger companies, one of the things that they start diversifying once they start going international is having a different partner, or at least multiple partners that can serve them, so that if one has an issue, their whole business doesn't go down. Essentially, they'll flip to the other one instantly.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's a good insurance policy for COVID and all the other things that could go awry in life.
Yeah, 2020 is the year that things definitely go wrong on massive levels. So it can't hurt, that's for sure.
But actually, it's kind of an interesting thing that I noticed when I updated my book. It's coming out in paperback in January, so I had to go back to everybody. There's more than 30 businesses, and I think the number one word for this year is diversify. Diversify everything. Normally in business, you're supposed to focus intensely and be a specialist and own your niche and that sort of thing when you're small. Not if you're Amazon, but when you're small. And now I think that's been turned on its head a bit, where if you just have one product or one service, forget it, because it might become obsolete overnight. If you have just one payment tracking system, like Matt just said, not payment tracking, payment acceptance system, that might not work for you. If you just have one outlet, you're only on Amazon, then you're at a lot of risk. And it's kind of interesting because it isn't really what you're taught just by other entrepreneurs. Everyone always says specialize. And I'm curious what other people are finding, but to me, it seems like that's kind of where everybody needs to be thinking right now.
Yeah.
Anybody want to pick up on that?
Yeah, Andy.
I would say specialize in e-commerce, but don't necessarily go all in on one product, because being one product can make you top heavy. You can tip over quickly versus having a solid foundation. And the problem with only having one product that I found early on, which is why I don't even sell my eco mower anymore and some of my other one hit wonder type products, is you need to be able to sell somebody a larger shopping cart with more products and a second purchase, a third purchase, a fourth purchase. And so if they're coming in to buy one cooler, great, but what are you going to sell them next, and the next month, and the next month, and the next year? And so you got to be careful with one-hit wonder products. It may be a great idea, but you got to be thinking, how can I sell this person more items?
Yeah, if you're a
Right.
musician, it's if you have one hit, you're gonna fade away. But if you create more hits, you know,
Yeah.
songs, you'll probably have a legacy. You'll be like Madonna and all these guys who or ladies and that stay for a while. You know, if we use the
Yeah.
pop world analogy.
Yeah, that's a great tip, guys. That's a great tip. We're almost out of time. I wish we had more time. But I know Yoni, you had a giveaway, and can we do that? And can you just share a little bit more why people need to pay attention to their Amazon reimbursements? If we can take just 3 or 4 minutes with that.
I just gonna
yeah.
be I'll bundle it up with my little live
Yeah.
trivia thing that we did Sunday. So if you want, we can just start. We can share the screen and dive right
Let's
into
do
it.
that.
But before
Yeah.
we do that, I want to appreciate Thomas's response. With Muskoka region is where I live. The town is Gravenhurst. The province is Ontario, and of course, the country is Canada, Ontario, Canada. So shout out to that. Thank you for their clarification. Okay, let me share my screen. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I shared the wrong screen.
Okay.
All right, so let me click on share screen. Okay, I'll do. All right, you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. Welcome to our live Q&A trivia. We did something very similar Sunday. We're gonna do it again. Andy, if this is repetitive, I apologize. Some of it will be, but there's gonna be new questions, so hopefully it'll be fun. Okay, so let's go to. Okay, so here's a little bit about Getira just for context. So for, so you understand who is talking and presenting this. What is Getira? Is it Getaira? It doesn't matter how you say it. It's all good. It's an acronym. It stands for Get IDA or Get Intelligent Data Analytics. Essentially what we're a technology company, but our claim for fame is auditing Amazon for logistical and financial discrepancies. So small example, if you ship 1,000 units to Amazon, to the fulfillment centers, and they only receive 990 units, our technology will find the 10 missing units, and then our service team will open a case with Amazon and to reconcile to see where it is. And if Amazon finds the 10 units, no harm done. If Amazon doesn't find the units, they're going to reimburse the sellers and pay the money. And we only charge a fee if there's a recovery. We don't charge any fees just like that. There's no subscription or anything. So we like to consider ourselves a global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements because we service all the Amazon marketplaces in North America, Europe, and all over the world. We are an award-winning company. We won the Gold Award from the American Business Awards for our dashboard technology. Like I mentioned, we do have a dedicated team of claim specialists. A big part of them are ex-Amazon employees who used to work in the reimbursements department, so we kind of know what we're looking for, and also it helps us to stay compliant in every corner and the way we do our work. We track and monitor our recovery rate, and we have a very high recovery rate. In the industry, our success rate is more than 75%. So for every 4 cases that we're going to open with Amazon for you, more than 3 cases will probably get reimbursed. And we believe in affordable solutions for all sellers. That's why, like I mentioned, we have a women proposition model where we don't charge any retainers, any subscription. We only charge a fee if we're successful in giving you value or financial recovery. All right. If you'd like to find us, you can visit getira.com or you can find us in the Amazon App Store. We're an authorized service provider in Amazon and their platform in the App Store. I think I mentioned this tip also on Sunday. This is just a tip or a nugget for anybody who sells on Amazon and is looking for a service provider. If you're not sure who they are, if they're legit, bona fide, Amazon has made it simple for the sellers. You go to the App Store and visit it, okay, and see if it's authorized by Amazon, because Amazon in the past year has invested, they're basically allocating $15 billion to invest in the App Store and vetting all these sellers. So essentially for us as service providers, we're like Amazon sellers. We are service providers on their platform, and they scrutinize us is exactly as they scrutinize the sellers. They always vet and check what's going on and make sure we're playing on a top game. So that's a good tip for anybody who's listening. And okay, now it's time to have some fun. All right. This is a live interactive presentation. So anybody wants to join this presentation, what I need you to do is visit menti.com. You see it on top, MENTI. You can do this on your phone or on your computer. It doesn't matter. And once you're there, just put this code in to enter the live presentation, 3024906. Okay. And then you just put your information and we're going to be ready to roll. So I'm going to give a few moments here. But essentially, if you entered the presentation, the live presentation, we're going to ask 2 questions. And whoever wins gets the 2 questions correctly will win $100. If the questions are not going to be too easy, so If 2 people actually, or more than 2 people, answer all the questions correctly, we're just gonna raffle the winner. But this is gonna give you an opportunity to win some money. But even more than that, the questions that we're gonna present are gonna give you the opportunity to learn. Okay, they're gonna be educational trivia questions. So once again, take your phone, visit menti.com, use this code 3024906. Enter the information, and we'll be ready to place the ball. Gary, can you hear me well? Because I can't see anything. I'm in outer space right now. Can you hear me, Gary? Houston, do you have a problem? You guys hear
No,
me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good.
And I just dropped the URL in the chat. If you guys can do it quickly, because we got to run in just a couple minutes. I have a back-to-back meeting right
So
after
how much?
this.
Give me
So
exact time. I'm gonna shift my Navy, my Navy
you
mentality
got 2
into the
minutes.
mix. 2
2
minutes.
minutes. Let's do it. Yeah.
Ooh, wow, that's gonna be tough. Okay, we got 3 people in. I feel bad because
Please enter now.
not gonna
That'd
get.
be good.
Can we
That'd be good, right? For
Can we
them.
get a 5-minute extension, Gary? Can we buy
I
it
wish I
somehow?
could, but
Whoever's meeting you, can we like pay him off or something?
there's gonna be like 200 people like anxious, so I don't want to keep them waiting.
Okay, we got
Yeah.
5 people in. Okay, I'm gonna have to skip a few parts. I do apologize. So we're gonna go right into
Yeah.
the questions. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what type of business are you? It's a few options here. Just a poll. What is your primary retail category? Okay. First question. First trivia question. How often does Amazon update a product sales rank? Okay, you guys can submit your answers. Is it monthly, weekly, daily, hourly? And the reason why this question is important is probably Cassandra is going to relate to this. Is when you do your product research, you want to kind of know what to sell or to create, so you can sell it on Amazon. You always go through the best sales rank, and there might be a false positive. You see something, it's ranked really high. You think it's doing great volume, but it just might be there for the moment. So how often does it get updated? Is it monthly, weekly, daily, or hourly? We got 4
Great
answers. Let's put I have 5 people before. Maybe we get one more in. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Let's see the answers. All right. Most of you guys said daily, and about 80%, and about 20% said hourly. And the correct answer is hourly. Congratulations, whoever got it correctly with the hourly. It's hourly. Just to show you how rapid and hyper dynamic the marketplace is, hourly. You check it the next hour, the ranks are different. So once you're doing product research and you want to know what to sell, keep that in mind. So the best way to do it is just try to look for trends over time. Don't take a snapshot, say, hey, these guys are ranked number 1 in this category, they're making $1 billion a year. It's not really true. If you look at the channel over time, they might peak for the 1 hour for the top, but then they flush all the way to the bottom. Okay. All right, second question, trivia. Second question, number 2. How much in federal taxes did Amazon pay in years 2017 and 2018? 2 years. Okay, did they pay 11 billion in taxes, 7.3, 1.7, 600 million, 129, or 0? Okay, how much in federal taxes? There's a big lesson here to learn on with this question. So this is a financial question for all you accountants out there, but there's also a kind of a story or a message behind this question. So not much time. We got Gary waiting and 200 people waiting. I gotta give it 3, 2, 1. Let's see what the answers were. You guys are ready? All right. So let's see. Numbers are changing. 50% are about saying 0, and then 11 billion, 1 point. Okay, so most of you got the correct answer. The answer is 0. Amazon paid 0 taxes in these 2 tax years, and the reason is because before taxes, their EBITDA was actually $11 billion or plus. But the reason they didn't pay anything in federal taxes because they took all that $11 billion and it reinvested into R&D. Okay, and because they do that, that's why Amazon is Amazon. That's why Amazon is still in hyper growth mode. They just take all the profit, reinvest it, and they get a tax break, which is unbelievable. So this is a lesson to you. Whatever you were doing and you're making a profit, and you really are serious about growing and yourself and your business, reinvest it into R&D and especially in technology. You can develop your own proprietary tools or solutions or whatever, and you can write it off with taxes and pay less taxes, but it really benefits you and your business and your whole organization. So that's it. That's pretty much what it is. If you guys got any questions whatsoever, you can reach out with this email, and we're done.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Sorry, I got to run. I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you, Yoni. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you, Elaine. This has been awesome. And for those of you guys that have not upgraded, we do have the All Access Pass. You guys can unlock the sessions that have already closed from day 1 and day 2 Cassandra's session. So I'm just super excited again. Thank you so much. And we will see you tomorrow. It's the last day, the end game, exits, selling your business. Definitely don't miss that. All right. So thank you again, everyone. Have a great night, and then we'll see everybody soon.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Happy
you so much,
selling,
Gary.
guys.
Bye.
Happy selling.
Happy selling.